All right, so today we're going to explore the symbolism of the moth drawn to the flame.
Okay.
We're diving deep into its connections to, religious experiences, spirituality, and the human psyche.
Sounds fascinating.
Yeah, and you sent us some really intriguing analysis on this topic.
I did.
And it gets pretty deep, even touching on Jungian archetypes
Oh, wow.
and the concept of libido to try and really understand this age-old metaphor.
Yeah. It's incredible how this image pops up across cultures and through different time periods.
Right.
It seems to tap into something very universal about the human experience.
Absolutely. So let's start with this idea of the moth as like a religious archetype.
Okay.
The analysis that you sent really emphasizes the moth's sacrifice,
Mm-hmm.
drawing a parallel to the kind of devotion that we see in religious context.
Yes. And, when we look at it through the lens of Jungian psychology, it starts to make even more sense. Jung proposed this idea of the collective unconscious, a kind of shared pool of experiences and emotions that we all inherit as humans.
I see.
And so within that collective unconscious, we find archetypes, these universal patterns of thought and behavior.
So are you saying that the moth drawn to the light, even if it means self-destruction,
Yes,
is acting out one of these archetypes? Like
exactly.
it's embodying this inherent human yearning
Yes.
for something greater than ourselves.
Think about it. The moth is irresistibly drawn to the light,
Right.
even if it means its own demise.
Yeah.
And it's a powerful symbol of how we as humans are drawn to the divine,
Okay.
to that which transcends our everyday experience.
And just as the moth might sacrifice itself for the light,
Exactly.
people throughout history have made profound sacrifices for their faith. All those stories of incredible devotion and sacrifice.
It really is.
Makes you wonder what drives people to such extremes.
I think it speaks to the power of belief, the power of faith, the human need to connect with something larger than ourselves. And that brings us to a really intriguing aspect of this discussion,
Okay.
the interplay of spirituality and rational logic.
Yeah, that's what I find so captivating about this whole moth and flame metaphor.
Yeah,
Religious experiences often go beyond what we can explain with logic alone.
absolutely.
It's about feelings of awe, a sense of connection, a feeling of the sacred,
Right.
things that can be difficult to grasp on a purely rational level.
And remember, the moth flying into the flame is acting against its basic survival instinct.
There it is.
In much the same way spiritual experiences can sometimes defy rational explanation.
Totally.
Throughout history, people have faced hardship, persecution, even death, all in the name of their beliefs.
Right.
That level of devotion, it just goes far beyond what logic alone can explain.
It's funny. I like to think of myself as a pretty logical person. But even I've done things that seemed totally illogical at the time
Oh, yeah.
because they felt spiritually guided. Like that one time I impulsively booked a flight to a meditation retreat.
We all have those moments, right, where we follow a path that seems illogical from the outside but feels deeply right on the inside.
Exactly. And isn't that kind of what the moth is doing?
I think so.
It's this unwavering pursuit of something that pulls at it on a deeper level, even if it doesn't make sense from a purely practical standpoint.
That's a great point. It highlights how the moth's pursuit of the light mirrors our own tendency to seek a connection with something greater than ourselves,
Yeah.
even when logic might dictate otherwise. It's a primal urge, something that speaks to a deeper part of who we are as humans.
Speaking of primal urges,
Yeah.
the analysis you sent also delves into some pretty heady Jungian concepts like libido,
Yeah.
not just in the typical way we think about libido.
Right. Jung viewed libido as a kind of psychic energy,
Okay,
a life force that can be channeled towards various desires.
I see.
And that includes the yearning for something transcendent, for something beyond the mundane.
So to put it simply, the moth is basically pouring all of its libido,
Yes,
all its psychic energy into this pursuit of the light.
that's one way to think about it.
Okay,
It really underscores the intensity of that drive, that yearning for something more.
right.
It consumes the moth completely, just as the search for meaning and purpose can sometimes consume us.
Which leads to a question I find super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
If this libido can be channeled in different ways,
Mm-hmm.
is it possible that some people find healthier outlets for their spiritual longing than others?
That's a great question.
Maybe they find it in creativity, in service to others, or in connecting deeply with nature. What do you think?
I think that's a very insightful question. You know how we choose to express that spiritual longing is deeply personal,
So,
and it can manifest in countless ways.
right.
There's no one right answer.
Hmm.
And it often becomes a journey of self-discovery.
That's a good point. A journey of self-discovery. I like that. And speaking of individual paths, the analysis you sent also touched on how our personality types, like whether we're introverts or extroverts, right, could influence how we experience and seek out this connection with the divine.
That's a fascinating point. Jung believed that introverts tend to find spiritual fulfillment through introspection and solitary practices, while extroverts might seek it through more outward experiences and engaging with the community.
So you're saying that for an introvert, the light might be found within.
Yes.
Through practices like meditation or contemplation.
Exactly.
While an extrovert might find it in acts of service or through rituals shared with others.
Exactly. The journey toward the divine isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of.
And right.
It's more like a path that winds through different landscapes, each suited to the traveler's unique nature.
That makes me think of those incredible stained glass windows you see in cathedrals. The light shines through each pane in a different way, creating this beautiful tapestry of colors and patterns.
Oh, see that.
Maybe our individual journeys are like that, reflecting the divine light in a unique way.
That's a beautiful analogy.
Yeah.
It speaks to the incredible diversity of spiritual expression.
Right.
And how each individual journey contributes to the larger tapestry of human experience.
It makes me wonder, for our listener out there, do you identify more with the introvert's path or the extrovert's?
That's a good one.
And how might your personality shape your own search for meaning and purpose?
That's a great question for self-reflection. And it connects back to something we were discussing earlier.
Right.
The idea that the moth's pursuit of light can be both destructive and symbolic of a deeper yearning.
Right.
What does that duality tell us about human desire?
Yeah.
And our constant search for meaning?
That's a profound question to consider. This whole journey toward the light seems to be full of paradoxes.
I agree.
It involves risk and sacrifice, but it also holds this incredible potential for transformation and connection.
Precisely. The moth's journey reminds us that the search for meaning is rarely easy or straightforward. It requires courage, a willingness to be vulnerable, and a sense of openness to the unknown.
It also makes me think about the importance of discernment. Not all lights are created equal, are they?
Absolutely. The moth, in its single-minded pursuit, might be drawn to any source of light, even artificial ones that ultimately lead to its demise.
And for us as humans, maybe that means being mindful of the lights we choose to follow in our own lives.
Yeah.
Are we chasing fleeting distractions, or are we truly pursuing something meaningful and life-giving?
Right. Are we letting a sense of purpose guide us? Or are we just reacting to whatever shiny object catches our attention in the moment?
Those are essential questions for anyone on a journey of self-discovery.
They are. The moth's journey reminds us that seeking the light requires both passion and wisdom.
I see that.
We need to feel drawn towards that which illuminates our path. But we also need the discernment to choose the right path.
This deep dive has been incredibly thought-provoking. We've explored the moth as a symbol of this deep human longing for something beyond ourselves.
Yes.
The complex relationship between spirituality and logic.
Yes.
And even how individual differences like introversion and extroversion can influence our spiritual paths.
It's been a rich and layered discussion.
It has.
And I'm curious to know what resonates most with our listeners.
Yeah.
What images, ideas, or questions have stuck with you throughout this exploration?
I'm sure there's a lot to contemplate after this deep dive. We've covered so much ground, from ancient archetypes to modern psychology, all through this simple but powerful lens of the moth and the flame.
And perhaps the most enduring message here is that the journey itself is just as important as the destination, and the seeking, the yearning, the continual striving, that we truly come to understand ourselves and our place in the grand scheme of things.
That's beautifully said. Our listener, keep seeking, keep asking questions, and keep your own inner light burning bright.
And until we meet again for another deep dive, may your journey be filled with meaning and illumination.
Before we started this whole deep dive, I kind of had this simple idea in my head that the moth and the flame was just, a metaphor for like self-destructive behavior.
Oh, yeah. It's easy to see it that way at first glance.
But now I see so much more.
Yeah.
I see it as this like representation of a deep human yearning, this desire for something that transcends the everyday, even if it means risking everything.
And that's precisely what makes this symbol so powerful and enduring. It speaks to something fundamental about our human experience, that search for meaning, the longing for connection, and even our willingness to sacrifice for something greater than ourselves.
It also highlights the paradoxical nature of that pursuit. The moth drawn to the light and ultimately meets its demise.
Right.
Yet that same self-destructive act can also be seen as a symbol of transcendence.
Yeah.
Of reaching for something beyond the limitations of its earthly existence.
That's the beauty of symbolism. It allows us to hold multiple interpretations, to see the complexity and nuance within a seemingly simple image. Moth's journey is a reminder that life itself is full of paradoxes.
Exactly.
We experience joy and sorrow, love and loss, hope and despair.
Right.
And it's through embracing those contradictions that we truly learn and grow.
It's also a reminder that the path to the divine, to meaning, to purpose, it's not always a straight line.
No, it's not.
It can be messy, challenging, even involve like detours and setbacks.
Absolutely. The moth doesn't always fly in a perfect straight line towards the light.
Right.
It might flutter, erratically get distracted, even circle back on itself. And our own journeys are often like that too. We might stumble, question our path, or even feel completely lost at times.
But it's in those moments of doubt, those detours, those times when we feel like we're flying in circles, that we have the opportunity to learn and grow.
Exactly.
We could adjust our course
Right.
and refine our understanding of what we're truly seeking.
It's not about arriving at some final destination or achieving a fixed state of enlightenment. It's about the ongoing process of seeking, evolving, and becoming more fully who we are meant to be.
There's that saying, the journey is the destination.
Yes.
The Moth's journey is a beautiful reminder that it's not about reaching some perfect state, but about embracing the constant dance between darkness and light.
Yeah.
Between striving and surrendering.
Yeah.
Between questioning and trusting.
It's in that dance that we find our own unique rhythm, our own way of connecting to something larger than ourselves. And that connection, that sense of belonging, of purpose, of reigning, that's what ultimately illuminates our path, regardless of where we end up.
That's a beautiful way to frame it. I think this has been such a rich exploration. So to our listener out there, I encourage you to reflect on your own journey, your own pursuit of light.
Yeah.
Embrace the paradoxes, the complexities, the detours, and most importantly, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep your inner light burning bright.
Until next time, may your path be filled with wonder, wisdom, and the illuminating glow of your own unique journey.
Subscribe to Young's Daily Wisdom with Cecilia. Unlock a new story each day and journey deeper into the mysteries of your own mind.